Hey YouTube, Justin with TAC 2 Weapons here for the Second Amendment, back with another teardown video for you guys today. Today we're going to be doing the Commando Mark45 by Volunteer Enterprises. You want to go ahead and take your sling off if you haven't done it already. If you don't have one on it, you don't have to worry about it. The tools that you're going to need is a number 4 Phillips head screwdriver, or if you got one of these universals, that will work. But this has a number 4 Phillips head in it, and then a flathead screwdriver, and a 3/16 Allen wrench, or an Allen wrench bit. This is what I have here. This is a Gunmaster. You can get these at your local Walmart or any place that sells Gunmaster. Probably even Dick's Sporting Goods, I'm not sure. But this one was bought at Walmart. And then I got an Allen wrench here too. So there's that. Second thing, out of everything here, we want to make sure the gun is clear, which it is. I'll go ahead and show you guys. There's nothing in that chamber. I already got the mag out of it. Of course, you can see there's nothing there. So, what we're going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and pull the bolt back and lock it open. So when I get down to where I have to separate the upper and lower, it'll come apart. So, go ahead and lock your bolt open. And then what we're going to want to do first is take these Phillips head screws loose, which is the number 4 Phillips head. We're going to take those loose. We do have 2 of these. This is the first one. The second one is a little bit different on how they done the firing pin mechanism. So I'm going to do a teardown of both of these guns and show you guys the comparison between how they did the firing pin in both of them. But the inner workings out of each one will work in either gun. I don't know if they changed it later on again after the second one, but both of these are pretty much almost the same, just a little bit different on the inside workings with the firing pin. Like I said, this is the first one. But after you back both of them Phillips head screws out, this will lift straight up off. So I'm going to set it to a side, out of the way. And I'm going to lay out everything how it comes apart. The second screw we want to remove is this flathead screw inside of here, and it's a pretty big head on that screw. So we want our flathead screwdriver, unless you have a universal that's a pretty good size, because this is a pretty big screw. This is the only one I could find at the moment that would fit in here. And when you do put this back together, you want to torque everything. I'll show you guys how much that I torque it, because this screw is threading into an aluminum like back plate, so it ain't gonna hurt to torque it a little bit. There is one thing I'll show you to be aware of when taking this gun apart, because there's a lot of tension on that recoil spring in there. So I'll show you guys that too. But this is the screw that goes into the bottom. As you can see, that's how big it is. So I'm going to set it aside. Now, why I cocked the bolt back is because of the feed ramp in here. It's against the bolt, so it don't let you take the upper and lower part. So you have to have the bolt cocked back, and then you can release it after you get the upper part. the easiest way that I found to do this is I'm going to put my thumb here on the front of the magazine wheel, and I'm going to lift straight off back here. So I'm going to push that way when I'm lifting up. So that's how that comes apart. And you want to go ahead and visually inspect that. Make sure it's clean. Go ahead and clean all that in there. You don't have to take it apart unless it looks dirty, but I wouldn't take it apart. But you can see that one's pretty clean. So there's that. So we want to go ahead and release our bolt so we take the tension off the recoil spring. Okay. Now for the Allen wrench, we got to remove this screw, but we need to keep pressure on this back plate because there's a lot of tension still on that back plate. So what I'm going to do is, I got this desk here, unless you got another way of doing it, I'm going to put that back plate against the edge of the desk so I can keep tension on that, so when I get the screw loose that I can lift it up just a hair and put my finger on it and slowly lift off. Because if you start taking that loose and you don't got no tension, everything's going to go flying out the back of the gun. So I'm going to go ahead and start by taking this loose. And to make this easier to put back on and be sighted in, just take you a pencil and go around the edge of that rear sight. So when you put it back on, it's pretty much sighted right back in. You don't have to worry about any adjustments sitting there and keep messing with it. It makes it a little bit easier. Plus the pencil will wear off and you can just go back over it again next time you got to take it apart. But I'm going to go ahead and take this loose. And this thing will be torqued. So I'm going to have to use the Allen wrench on it. Okay, there we go. So like I said, keep tension on that. Because if you don't, everything's going to go flying out of it. The manual doesn't state anything about that, but I'll show you guys here once it starts coming apart. Now the rear sight will turn with the screw, so just make you guys aware of that, because that screw does fit in there pretty tight. So you don't have to take a risk of the sight dropping off the screw or anything. You just take the screwdriver, go across it the rest of the way. Now, I'm going to lay that to a side too. Now, like I say, you want to try and lift that up so you can get your finger on it. And then, if you're sitting in a chair, this will make it a lot easier. Just cup your hand over the back of it and pull your finger out and just slowly lift up. Try to keep from losing everything. There's a lot of tension on that spring. So you can see pretty much here already. There's our block. So we're going to set that aside. Make sure you pay attention. The bigger hole goes towards the rear sight. The smaller hole goes towards the bottom of the gun. So I'm going to set that to a side. Now, here comes the inner workings part. Now, you can see on this right here, this is how the rear spring is in this one. It's got this crimped washer that holds the spring on to that. There's a rubber bushing here. Here's the rod for the firing pin spring. And then this here also works the firing pin when it goes in. So that kind of shoves the firing pin when you release it. So there's that. I'm going to set that to a side. And when this goes back in, you can see it's got 4 ears on it that's bent over. Well, them 4 ears go to the 4 corners inside there. So we want to take the bolt out by lifting up to the rear notch. I'm going to put my finger down through here, and this bolt will come straight out. You may have to kind of move it around to get the right spot. That's what it looks like. Okay. Now we're going to take and let the bolt back down. Take our hand, put it over the back of the gun, and pull the bolt right out. Then we're going to set that down here. Now, with this bolt mechanism, we have the firing pin and the firing pin spring in here. So we're going to pull that out. And that's what it looks like. Well, this one here is pretty much clean already, but that spring fits right down inside of that. So you can see how that works. We're going to set that to a side and just go ahead and clean your bolt and everything. And when you're putting this gun back together, as you can see, there's a recessed spot in here where the spring's going to go against the back of the bolt. So if you don't get it lined up right, you're going to have to fiddle around with it, which I'll show you that when I go to put it back together. But rather than that, it's pretty simple. It's just that rear spring in the gun makes it kind of difficult backing that screw out because everything wants to go flying out. But go ahead and clean everything, and then if you don't have the other version, which I'll do a video of before both of these are put up. But that's pretty much on what it looks like. So stay tuned for version 2, and I'll do the comparison between the two. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.